Good morning, I'm Patrick Erickson with the Inland COVID Response Joint Information Center. We appreciate everyone for being with us. This morning we'll have our daily update with Spokane County Health Officer Dr. Bob Lutz. But this morning we'll also have Deputy Chief Jay Atwood with the Spokane Fire Department in just our facts segment. He'll be focusing on fabric mask safety. Now afterwards we will be taking questions for both of our speakers. If you have any questions that you'd like answered this morning, please share them with us on Facebook. And with that, we will start with Dr. Lutz.
Good morning. We can look at the first slide. As I always say, this slide is yesterday, but thankfully only 2 more reported cases. And next, we continue to see that downward trend, which is very encouraging. And one more slide. That's it. So, and total of 20 deaths so far, so no more over the last day or so, which is great. We have 12 people currently in the hospital. So let's talk about news. So yesterday, thankfully, the governor relaxed some of those outdoor recreational opportunities for us. And so it's going to be great to get out, for those of you who golf, getting out on the golf course, fishing, getting outdoors. Great during this time of year and certainly a great stress relief. When you get out there, though, it doesn't mean that you can relax all of those recommendations that we have been putting forth over the weeks. That means that physical distancing, continue to practice good respiratory etiquette. So if you're coughing or sneezing, you're coughing into your sleeve or into your elbow. Of course, staying home when you're not feeling well. And as we've said before, frequently touched is frequently clean, so make sure you wash your hands frequently. And of course, wear your face mask. Now that face mask, as we've talked about in the past, is really serving 2 purposes. It's allowing you to prevent others from getting ill, and it also sends a message. It sends a message that you care about your neighbors. We get a lot of questions. What do you do? How should you take care of them? So some simple things. First of all, when you put on the mask, make sure you wash your hands, and likewise, when you're taking off the mask, wash your hands. We've said this often, wash your hands. The mask is a great reminder to really avoid touching your face. And then what do you do about cleaning the mask? Ideally, you're cleaning the mask on a daily basis, so maybe you have a couple of these masks. And when you clean them, it should be done in ideally hot water, and make sure that it's dried on as hot a temperature as you can, because we know that COVID viruses do not tolerate heat well. So in that regard, these masks are great. They're a great resource, but again, remember that they're not personal protective equipment like we would use in the hospital setting. They are really trying to prevent you from infecting and making others ill. And so I'm going to pass this off to Deputy Chief, and he's going to talk about some issues around masks that he has experienced.
Thank you, Dr. Lutz. So as he alluded to, the fabric masks that you're starting to see lots of people wear today are becoming more the norm in our everyday lives. And in that vein, people are trying to figure out a way to be able to care for and disinfect these masks in an effective manner. There's a lot of information out there on the internet. Some of it's accurate, and some of it, as we're going to show here in a couple of minutes, very dangerous. Recently, our training division with the Spokane Fire Department conducted an experiment based on some of this information that's on the internet as a home remedy, if you will. And it's the remedy where you take your fabric mask and place it in a microwave to try to disinfect and sterilize the mask. So over the course of the experiment, we took a variety of different sorts of fabric masks that you commonly see and put them in the microwave for 3 to 4 minutes, which was the recommended time for the mask to actually get disinfected via the heat generated by the microwave. So we're going to show the video of the experiment. I have samples of these masks here, the masks that were used in the experiment, so you can see what the final result looked like, and hopefully indicate how dangerous this method for disinfection really is. So let's take a look at the video, and I'll talk about each one of those experiments as we move through it. So the first experiment we did was a cloth mask in a Ziploc bag. Again, set the time for 3 minutes as per the recommendation. So this is a time-lapse video, and this is the result of the experiment after 3 minutes. As you can see in the video, the bag is sticking to the plate in the microwave. It's melted, and you can see a lot of charring on the mask. This is the actual mask and bag that was part of that experiment. And as you can see, this could have ended very badly if this had been in the microwave any longer. The second experiment was a cloth mask all by itself with no bag. And it's hard to see probably on the screen at home, but the mask at this point is starting to smoke, and you can see some embers, and now it's actually on fire in the microwave. Captain Peterson is taking the mask out of the microwave. You can see it's totally engulfed in flame. And this is what is left of that mask. We put it in a bag just to contain it, but you can see that there's really nothing left of that fabric mask after just 3 minutes. This next experiment is a mask with a metal nose piece in a Ziploc bag. Again, you can see this was set for about 3 minutes, and the mask is now on fire in the microwave. And this is the result of that experiment. Again, melted plastic, and the mask is severely charred. We're conducting this experiment in our training burn building in a controlled environment, wearing full protective equipment, and as you can see, now you know why with the results of the experiment. This last experiment, we took a cloth mask again with a metal nose piece, sprayed it with rubbing alcohol or an alcohol solution, put it in a Ziploc bag, and ran the experiment. This particular experiment did not make it 3 minutes due to the reaction. And this is the result of that. Just after 12 seconds in the microwave, the mask and bag melted and burned severely. So from a safety perspective, you think about this potentially when you see this on the internet. This seems like a reasonable home remedy to be able to disinfect the masks, but the way microwaves work and the electromagnetic waves that generate heat and excite the molecules of whatever is in there to be heated up, the more time spent, and depending on the makeup, can lead to disastrous results. At the end of the day, the Spokane Fire Department's recommending that you follow CDC guidance on proper care of your fabric masks. Should be cleaned regularly, as Dr. Lutz alluded. Your washer and dryer should suffice in disinfecting them. You can always find more information on the CDC website at cdc.gov. One of the things that, as you can see, I'm wearing my mask as a member of the Spokane Fire Department, and as we see, again, thinking about these masks as being part of our everyday lives, the Spokane Fire Department instituted an all mask all the time policy for all of the men and women that work for the Spokane Fire Department. The reason that we did this was because we're in a high-risk environment, treating patients, entering into homes of folks that may be ill. And so in this process, both from the standpoint of any member that could get sick and from a protection perspective, we're wearing these masks to help reduce our risk. Me wearing my masks protects you, and you wearing your mask protects me. On behalf of the Spokane Fire Department, I want to thank you for staying home to stay healthy. And we understand that the daily life in COVID-19 has drastically changed for everyone. Thank you.
Dr. Lutz, our first question is for you. This is coming from our Facebook audience. Can you speak about the status of new testing sites throughout the county, and could the addition of additional sites help the region in our goal to eventually reopen faster?
Certainly, yes. With respect to testing sites, we've had some conversations about the fairgrounds testing site, and I am pleased to say that that site will actually stay in place. We're looking at having the National Guard support that site over the next few weeks. And so that's, again, a great resource for us and for the community. There is a map that we are creating that we will have available to the community so that everybody can see where the various testing sites are. And ideally, I believe it'll also have hours, it'll have the different resources that are available there, so stay tuned for that. There's no question that as we have more testing sites, we will have more testing capabilities, and with more testing capabilities will come a better sense of exactly how prevalent COVID-19 is in our community. As I've mentioned before, the CDC last week, I think, or earlier this week, released new guidance, and we should be seeing similar guidance that's being shared with our providers throughout the community that will, again, I believe, really enhance the amount of testing that's occurring.
And Dr. Lutz, we just got a question. Can you talk about contact tracing plans for Spokane County at this point? How many people are needed, and when will those people be able to be eventually in the field?
Sure. So as you've heard at the national level, certainly at the state and at the local levels, we are actively working on this contact investigation protocol. There's been a number of conference calls that we have had with Department of Health about what that looks like. It's complicated. It's something that I don't think any time in the recent past that the country has attempted. So the infrastructure that's going to be necessary is significant. There will be training that will be provided to all volunteers. Currently, it's my understanding that the state is looking at having probably 1,500, maybe up to 2,000 such volunteers, relying first on National Guard. There are also people who work within public health that have the experience. And then we'll be looking at recruiting volunteers from across the community. It's labor intensive. It can be very labor intensive. It can also be very taxing emotionally, because you will be talking with individuals who are being asked to stay home and isolate, or staying home and quarantining. And there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of concerns, especially when somebody has been identified as having COVID-19. So it's work that is evolving, and certainly as we know more, I will be sharing that information with everyone.
And we have another question from a person on Facebook. What are the rules when it comes to non-essential businesses being open for curbside pickup?
What are the rules? I'm not always up on all the rules. These evolve pretty regularly. To the best of my knowledge, curbside pickup is still being permitted. I don't think there's any changes in that, and that still is sort of the encouragement, especially for those situations like restaurants and other vendors, where we know that those in-house servings are not really allowed. So I don't know that there has been significant changes.
I think maybe the question is focusing on the non-essential part. You know, we have the restaurants that are open for curbside pickup, but maybe for the places of business who have been identified as non-essential.
Okay, clarification, thanks. Yeah, I think we may get some more guidance next week. To the best of my knowledge, there really is nothing that would allow those non-essential businesses to do curbside. But again, to be honest, I'm not up on all the rules, so we'll look into that.
And another question from Facebook. Can you expand on your thoughts when it comes to people coming up on the 5th, being able to hunt, being able to fish, being able to recreate, do things like play golf again? What would your advice to them be as we get closer to that date and eventually when we get to May 5th?
Well, everybody's excited. I think prepare. You know, you're going to be getting out there and doing those things that you've wanted to do that, again, sort of following the guidance you haven't been able to do. So I think in preparation for that, just remember that when you're out there, you are doing all of those social, physical distancing guidelines. You're still practicing good cough etiquette, respiratory etiquette. The recommendations aren't going to change fundamentally for being out there. It's just that you're out there now where as before you weren't able to. So. Well, no further questions, so we thank you. So as I continue to practice my ASL, stay home, stay healthy, wash your hands, and save, man, bad today, save lives. Thank you. Have a good day.